The morning I opened my eyes, the first thing I heard was not my alarm. It was Han Meow Meow kicking the leg of my bed frame from below and whining, "Lin Wan, get up. The library opens in 20 minutes. If you're late, we'll lose the window seats again." For 3 full seconds, I stared at the ceiling fan above me, watching its dusty blades cut the gray dawn into slow circles. Then I smelled the familiar dormitory mix of instant coffee, wet towels, cheap perfume, and panic. My throat tightened, not because I was scared, because the last time I heard those exact words, I climbed down from this same upper bunk, put on my shoes without tying the laces properly, ran through freezing morning wind, reserved 4 library seats with my own student card, and began the final 7 days of my previous life as the dorm's unpaid servant, scapegoat, and joke. 7 days later, my scholarship would be canceled, my postgraduate recommendation would vanish, the entire dorm would testify that I had illegally occupied library resources, and the girl who cried hardest into the counselor's sleeve would be the same girl who had handed them my handwritten seat schedule. That night, after the disciplinary notice was posted, my mother called 3 times. I did not answer. By dawn, I had stepped into traffic outside the south gate with a folder of appeal documents pressed to my chest. But now my phone screen glowed with the date, April 18th. 7 days before the library incident. 5 days before the mock interview. 3 days before the dorm's first collapse. I was back. And Han Meow Meow was still kicking my bed like my spine belonged to her. I turned over slowly and looked down. The dorm room had not changed at all. 4 desks crammed under 4 bunks, each one telling the truth about its owner better than any personality test. Han Meow Meow's desk was a war zone of cosmetics, empty milk teacups, and flashcards she had copied for me, but never opened. Chun Rua's desk looked neat from a distance because she stacked her mess vertically, hiding snack wrappers behind grammar books and anxiety behind pastel sticky notes. Soon Yen's desk was empty except for a laptop, a mirror, and a row of imported pens she never lent but always asked to borrow money for. And across from me, the cleanest desk in the room belonged to Yao Xian, the girl everyone protected because she had a soft voice, low blood sugar, and the talent of bleeding other people dry without leaving fingerprints. She sat in her chair wrapped in a cream cardigan, looking up at me with those wet, deer-like eyes that had fooled me for 2 years. "Wan Wan," she said gently, "I'm sorry, but today's really important. If we don't get the seats near the socket, I won't be able to revise. My laptop battery is broken again." In my previous life, that sentence had been enough. I had jumped down, brushed my teeth with one hand while tying my hair with the other, then sprinted to the library, holding 4 student cards in my pocket like a thief. Today, I smiled at her. It was a small smile.
"Come."
Almost kind. "Then you should hurry," I said. The library opened soon. The room froze so sharply that even the kettle stopped sounding like it was boiling and started sounding like it was listening.
Han Meow Meow blinkade med.
"What?" Chenrua turned around halfway, with her toothbrush still in her mouth. Soon Yen lowered her mascara wand. Yao Xian's expression trembled at the edges, but she recovered quickly, pressing one hand to her stomach as if my sentence had physically harmed her. "Wan Wan, I thought we agreed you'd go first today. My stomach hurts. Meow Meow has a makeup quiz, Rua has to print her materials, and Yen stayed up late editing the presentation." There it was, the famous storm logic. Their reasons were human. Mine were weather conditions.
Their sleep was rest.
Mine was laziness. Their tasks mattered. Mine could be postponed because I was good at managing time. In the old life, I had accepted that compliment like a medal. I did not understand that when lazy people call you capable, they are usually measuring how much weight you can carry before your knees bend. I sat up and tied my hair into a low ponytail. "I didn't agree," I said. "You discussed it while I was reviewing last night." Then Meow Meow said, "Linwan will do it anyway." That's not agreement. That's an announcement.
Han Meow Meow saks flusha instantly.
She had always reacted to boundaries like they were insults. "You're being weird. You always reserve seats. Why are you suddenly pretending to be fair?" I climbed down from the bunk slowly, taking my time because panic belonged to them now. Because the library rules say one person, one seat. I'm one person. Soon Yen gave a short laugh, sharp enough to cut thread. Don't be dramatic. Everyone does it. We're roommates. You're acting like we asked you to commit murder. No, I said, sliding my feet into slippers. You asked me to violate a rule repeatedly while you all slept in. Then, if anything goes wrong, I'm the only name attached to the card scans. Chenrua rinsed her mouth and tried to soften the air, which was her favorite method of trapping me with politeness. Wan, we're all under pressure. Let's not fight over something small. I looked at her. In my last life, she had cried during the disciplinary meeting and said, I didn't know Lin Wan used our cards. I thought she only helped us check if seats were empty. That lie had been delivered with a shaking voice and both hands clasped, so everyone believed her. Something small, she called it now. Something small had cost me my future. You're right, I said. It's small. So, everyone can do it herself. I brushed my teeth, washed my face, and changed into a clean white blouse, while the dorm behind me erupted in whispers that were not quiet enough to hide. Han Miao called me selfish. Sun Yen said success had made me arrogant even though nothing had succeeded yet. Chenrua said I was probably stressed and would regret speaking harshly. Yao Xian said nothing for a while, which meant she was deciding which mask to wear. When I picked up my backpack, she stood and swayed slightly. In the past, I would have grabbed her arm before she finished leaning. Today, I stepped sideways and let her catch the chair by herself. Her fingers tightened around the backrest. A flicker of disbelief crossed her face, so quick no one else noticed. I noticed. Rebirth had not made me cruel. It had made me observant. Wan, she whispered. Are you angry at me? A perfect question. Soft enough to sound innocent. Wide enough to make me look petty no matter how I answered. I zipped my bag.
No, I'm Buse.
That was all. Not a defense. Not an explanation. Not the emotional essay I used to write every time someone accused me of having feelings. I walked out of the dorm with my own student card, my own books, and a strange lightness in my chest, as if I had been carrying 4 invisible chairs on my back for years and had finally put them down. The corridor outside was full of final week creatures, girls in slippers clutching thermos cups, boys from the opposite building sprinting with uncombed hair, couples walking silently because love had lost to exams, and students who had not entered the library all semester suddenly behaving like seat access was a constitutional right. The campus at 6:40 a.m. had a special cruelty to it. The sky looked washed in cold milk, the ginkgo trees were still half asleep, and the library windows glowed like a promise nobody could afford to miss. In my previous life, I had been first in line every day. I knew the route from Dormitory Building 7 to the East Library entrance better than I knew my own heartbeat. Cut through the laundry courtyard, avoid the puddle near the vending machine, cross before the cafeteria delivery cart blocked the path, scan the card at 6:58, take the stairs instead of the elevator, drop notebooks on seats 32 to 35 near the socket wall, send a message to the dorm group. Got them. I used to feel proud when the replies came in. Wan is the best. Our lifesaver. Love you. Those words were crumbs. I had mistaken them for bread. This time, I walked at normal speed. When someone ran past me, nearly knocking my shoulder, I did not speed up. When the library doors opened and the crowd surged forward, I scanned only my card. When I reached the 3rd floor, the socket seats were already half taken. I chose a single desk near the reference shelves, placed one notebook down, sat, and opened my review plan. My phone began vibrating before I finished writing the date. The dorm group chat was performing exactly on schedule, only without me playing stagehand. Han Miao, where are you? Chenrua Wan, did you get the seats? Sun Yen, don't tell me you really only took one. Yao Xian, I'm at the stairs. There are no seats left near the socket. My chest feels tight. Han Miao, Lin Wan, answer. Chenrua, let's not blame anyone first. Maybe she's saving them and hasn't replied. Sun Yen, she's online. I can see it. I watched the messages arrive like rain against glass. Then I muted the group. My hand did not shake. That surprised me. I expected revenge to feel hot, but the first taste of it was quiet. It was not fireworks. It was a door closing softly. I studied for 43 uninterrupted minutes, which was longer than any morning session I had managed in my previous life. Back then, they arrived one by one and destroyed my concentration in layers. Meow Meow complained about the chair. Asked me to explain 3 pages just quickly. Nian needed my charger. Yao Xian asked me to buy warm soy milk because cold drinks hurt her stomach. By 8, I would be exhausted and they would be posting photos captioned library grind. Today, no one interrupted me. At 7:52, a shadow fell across my page. I looked up and saw Yao Xian standing beside my desk, pale cardigan, trembling lips, one hand pressed to her laptop bag. She had chosen the wounded expression then. Behind her, 2 students from our faculty slowed down, curious. Yao Xian was very good at choosing witnesses. Wan, she said, voice thin. Can I sit with you for a while? I couldn't find a seat. I feel dizzy. The empty chair across from me had a bag on it. Not mine. A law student had gone to refill water. I tapped the small occupancy timer sticker on the desk. Someone is sitting there. Her eyes reddened. I won't disturb you. I just need somewhere to rest. The students nearby glanced at me with that familiar look. Why is she being cold to such a gentle girl? In my past life, that look could move me like a leash. Now I turned 1 page of my book. The library has a rest area on the 1st floor. There are sofas. You can also go to the clinic. She lowered her voice. Are you punishing me because I asked you for help? No, I said, still looking at my notes. I'm refusing because you asked for someone else's seat. The law student returned at that exact moment, holding a water bottle. Yao Xian stepped back, embarrassed for half a breath before recovering. Sorry, she whispered to him, then to me, loud enough for the witnesses. I didn't know I had become such a burden to you. I kept my pen and finally met her eyes. You're not a burden. You're a student. Students reserve their own seats. Her mouth parted, but no tears fell. That was how I knew she was truly angry. Yao Xian's tears were tools, and tools are used when there is a benefit. Here, in the quiet library, with my expression flat and the law student already sitting down, crying would only make her look unreasonable. She swallowed the performance and left. 10 seconds later, my muted phone lit up with message previews. Yao Xian, I found a random corner. Don't blame Wan. She's probably under too much pressure.
Han melder miau, under pressure.
We're all under pressure. She just thinks she's better than us. Su Nian. She took a seat for herself, though. Amazing friendship. Chinrua. Stop, we still have to live together. I smiled once, not because it was funny, but because the script was so familiar I could almost mouth the lines before they appeared. In my last life, when they framed me, the first step had been exactly this. Establish emotional evidence. Make me look selfish, unstable, resentful. Then when something happened, everyone would say, actually, she had been acting strange for days. I opened my cloud drive and created a folder titled April Evidence. Into it, I placed screenshots of the group chat, the library rule page, and a photo of my single seat. Pattern interruption number 1. This time, I would not wait until after the knife entered my back to start collecting fingerprints. By noon, the dorm had lost its first battle with reality. Han Miao Miao failed to get a desk and spent 2 hours in the cafeteria, where she claimed the noise ruined her memorization. Chen Rua found a seat in the old reading room but left her charger in the dorm, then messaged me privately. Wan, could I borrow your power bank? I replied, I'm using it. She sent a sad sticker. I did not respond. Su Nian squeezed into a shared table with seniors and complained in the group that the air conditioning was too cold. Yao Xian posted a photo of her laptop balanced on her knees in the stairwell with the caption, Some days teach you who you can rely on. The photo was beautifully composed. Her sleeve covered the dust. The sunlight hit her eyelashes. If you did not know her, you would think she was a tragic scholarship girl abandoned by cruel roommates. By 12:20, Someone from the neighboring dorm commented, "Why didn't your dorm reserve together like usual?" Yao Xian replied, "It's okay. I don't want to pressure anyone." I took another screenshot. Then I went to lunch alone, ordered tomato egg rice, and ate slowly by the window. It had been 2 years since I tasted food without someone else's emergency sitting on my tongue. The second I returned to the dorm that afternoon, Han Miao Miao slammed her book shut so hard the cover bent. "Linwan, we need to talk." I placed my backpack on my chair. "Talk." She clearly expected me to look nervous. I didn't. That alone stole half her momentum. She stood with her arms folded, chin lifted, trying to imitate the authority of a teacher while wearing bunny slippers. "You made everyone uncomfortable today." Xian almost fainted. Ruo couldn't charge her laptop. Nian barely reviewed. I had nowhere to memorize. "We're a dorm. We should help each other." I nodded. Agreed. She blinked, thrown off. "Then tomorrow you should go early and reserve the 4 seats again." "No." The word landed so cleanly the room seemed to tilt around it. Su Nian spun in her chair. "You just said we should help each other." Helping each other means everyone contributes, not one person breaking rules for everyone else. Chun Rua's voice came carefully from her bunk curtain. "Then we can rotate. You go tomorrow, Miao Miao goes the day after, I go after that." "Good idea," I said. "Make the rotation without me. I'm not reserving seats for anyone."
Han Melomia och lägg din dispelliaf.
"So you benefit from our dorm reputation, share our resources, but refuse to help." That was rich. The only shared resource I had ever received was noise. I opened my drawer and took out 3 student cards. In the previous life, they had handed them to me for convenience, and later claimed I had taken them without clear permission. I placed them on the center table one by one.
Han Melomia.
Chun Rua.
Su Nian.
Then I took Yao Xian's card from the side pocket of my old canvas bag and placed it separately, because in the previous life, hers had been the most dangerous. "These are yours.
Take them back.
From now on, I won't hold anyone's card, reserve anyone's seat, submit anyone's attendance scan, print anyone's materials, or explain why anyone is late." Silence. Real silence, not the dramatic kind. Their faces changed in sequence. Miao Miao looked offended. Nian looked calculating. Ruo looked worried because she understood consequences faster than the others. Yao Xian, who had been lying in bed with her curtain half closed, finally pulled it open. Her eyes dropped to her student card as if I had placed a dead insect on the table. "Wan Wan," she said softly, "you don't have to do this so formally." "I do," I said. Misunderstandings happen when things aren't formal. Her fingers tightened around the curtain. There it was again, the tiny crack. In my old life, I had been too busy apologizing to notice how much she hated clarity. Su Nian picked up her card with 2 fingers.
"Fine.
Don't help, but don't come crying when you need us." I almost laughed. Need them? In the previous timeline, I had needed them once. Just once. During the disciplinary meeting, I needed one person to say, "Linwan reserved seats because we asked her to." Instead, Miao Miao stared at the floor, Chen Ruo cried, Sun Yen claimed she was asleep every morning, and Yao Xian whispered, "I told her not to take risks for us, but she wanted everyone to think she was useful." Useful. That word had followed me into death. I looked at the 4 girls in front of me and wondered how many times I had mistaken proximity for friendship. We slept within 3 meters of each other, shared laundry detergent, knew each other's menstrual cycles, ordered late-night noodles together, and yet when the blade came down, they had not even flinched. This time, I would not ask them to become better people. I would simply remove the benefits of pretending they were. The next morning, I woke at 6, not because anyone kicked my bed, but because I had slept early and my body remembered discipline. Below me, chaos bloomed like mold. Han Miao Miao had set 5 alarms and slept through all of them. Chun Ruo was searching for one missing sock with the desperation of a detective in a murder case. Sun Yen was curling her bangs while shouting that someone had used her facial mist. Yao Xian sat at her desk, looking fragile and silent, waiting for someone to suggest I was being too cruel. No one did. They were too busy being late. I climbed down, washed, dressed, and made instant oatmeal. Han Miao Miao stared at me from the mirror. You're seriously eating? Yes. The library opens in 15 minutes. Then you should leave. She threw her comb onto the desk. Do you have no sense of urgency? I stirred my oatmeal.
Ido.
For my own schedule. That sentence annoyed her more than any insult could have. People who use you do not just want your labor. They want your panic. They want you to prove their needs matter more than yours by becoming visibly stressed on their behalf. Calm is disobedience. I left at 6:50 with my thermos and walked to the library under a sky bruised purple at the edges. Halfway there, I heard footsteps slapping behind me. Han Miao Miao rushed past, backpack open, hair clip barely attached. Chen Rua followed, holding her laptop against her chest. Sun Yen was not with them. Yao Xian was not with them either. Miao Miao looked back once, probably expecting me to hurry after her and help. I didn't. At the entrance, the crowd had already formed a crooked line, more aggressive than yesterday. The exam season had turned everyone into wolves with tote bags. A boy argued with the guard about whether placing a water bottle counted as occupying a seat. Two girls from the economics department accused someone of moving their notebooks. A senior shouted that the library should enforce face recognition. I scanned in, took the stairs, and found my same single desk. It was available because I had arrived early enough for myself. By 7:10, the dorm chat exploded again. Miao Miao. Someone took the socket seats. Rua, I'm on 5F, no plugs. Nian. Who took my card? I can't find my card. Miao Miao. You lost it yourself. Nian. I put it on the desk. Xian, did you see it?
Jiaoxin, no.
I'm still in the dorm. My stomach hurts. I stared at that last message for a long moment. In my old life, on this same morning, Yao Xian had also claimed stomach pain. I had reserved her seat anyway. Later, the scan record showed her card entered the library at 6:59 even though she arrived at 9:40. That scan became the proof that I had misused her card. Today her card was not in my bag. I wondered whose hands it would pass through now. At 8:03, the first pattern broke. Sun Yan appeared on the third floor with red eyes and no student card. She went table to table, asking if anyone had seen a silver card holder. Students ignored her. She reached my desk last. Lin Wan, she said, voice lower than usual. Did you accidentally take my card yesterday? I did not look up immediately. I finished highlighting one sentence, capped the marker, then raised my head. No, are you sure? You had it before. I returned it yesterday in front of everyone. Maybe you picked it up after. I didn't. Her jaw tightened. She was not used to direct denial. She was beautiful in the effortless, expensive way that made teachers forgive late assignments and boys carry boxes. But beauty did not help when the access gate required plastic. I need to enter for attendance, she said. I have a study check-in. Go to the admin desk. Report it lost. That takes time. Yes. Her nostrils flared. Can you come downstairs and tell them I'm with you? Maybe they'll let me in. In my previous life, I had lied for her twice. Once for late dorm curfew, and once for a Miss Lab sign-in. Both times she thanked me by saying, "You're so reliable, I'm jealous." The jealousy was real. The gratitude was not. I turned back to my book.
No.
She stood there long enough for the student across from me to glance up. Then she laughed softly, the kind of laugh people use when they want strangers to think they are the reasonable one. You've changed. Yes, I said. That single syllable ended the performance. She left. 20 minutes later, a campus notice popped up in our grade group. Due to repeated complaints about seat occupation, the library will conduct random checks this week. Students may not reserve seats for others using cards, books, water bottles, or personal belongings. Violators may lose library access and be reported to their department. My fingers paused over my pen. The notice had appeared in the previous timeline too, but I had ignored it because the dorm begged me. Just this week, they said, after exams, we'll never ask again. The trap had not been a sudden accident. It had been a signposted cliff, and I had walked because 4 girls held my hands and called it friendship. I forwarded the notice to the dorm group with one sentence: "Please follow the rules." Han Miao Miao replied instantly, "Stop acting like a counselor."
Su Nian zip lit, con ven ti mình.
Chen Ruo replied, "We know." Yao Xian replied after a full minute, "Thank you for reminding us." At lunch, the counselor summoned our dorm to her office. In the past life, this meeting happened only after the scandal. This time it happened because Su Nian had reported her card missing and hinted that someone who used to keep our cards might know where it was. The counselor, Teacher Luo, was a woman in her early 30s with tired eyes and a habit of pressing her temples before speaking. She liked simple explanations because she had too many students to manage and not enough time to investigate drama. That made her dangerous. Not malicious, just efficient. Efficient people can ruin you with a shortcut. The 5 of us stood in her office while the printer hummed behind her. "I heard there's conflict in your dorm over library seats," she said. Han Miao Miao opened her mouth immediately. "Teacher, Lin Wan suddenly refused to help us, and now everyone's schedule is messed up." Teacher Luo looked at me. Lin Wan. In my old life, I would have rushed to explain, apologize, soften, include everyone's feelings, and sound guilty by the 3rd sentence. This time, I opened my phone and placed it on her desk. "Teacher, I returned everyone's student cards yesterday at 17:32. The dorm camera faces our door, and the group chat confirms I told them I would no longer reserve seats. Library rules prohibit one person occupying multiple seats. I'm following the rule." Teacher Luo blinked. The room shifted. Documentation is a language adults respect when tears become noisy. Chen Ruo quickly stepped in. "Teacher, we're not saying she broke rules now. It's just that we used to help each other, and the sudden change caused misunderstandings." "What misunderstanding?" I asked. Chen Ruo's eyes flicked towards Su Nian. Su Nian lifted her chin. "My student card disappeared after she returned it." I looked at her. "Are you accusing me of stealing it?" The word stealing cracked through the office. Su Nian's expression changed. "I didn't say that." "Then say what you mean." She hated that. Vague suspicion is comfortable because it stains without accountability. Direct accusation requires proof. Teacher Luo's gaze sharpened. "Su Nian, did you see Lin Wan take your card?" "No, but..." "Then report it lost and replace it. Don't imply theft without evidence." Han Miao Miao muttered. "Teacher, you don't know how she's been acting." Teacher Luo sighed. "Acting how?" Miao Miao struggled because she stopped serving us sounded less righteous when translated into normal language. Yao Xian finally spoke, soft as falling dust. "Teacher, I think Wanwan may be overwhelmed. She has always taken care of us. Maybe she feels unappreciated. We should also reflect." Beautiful. Perfect. She appeared generous while painting me as emotionally unstable. I smiled. "Thank you. I agree, everyone should reflect." Teacher Luo dismissed us with a warning to stop causing trouble before finals. Outside the office, the corridor smelled like floor disinfectant and rain. Su Nian walked ahead, furious but silent. Chen Ruo followed with her lips pressed tight. Han Miao Miao waited until we turned the corner before exploding. "Are you proud of yourself? Bringing screenshots to the counselor like we're criminals." I stopped walking. "You involved the counselor first, because you made Nian lose her card." "No," I said. "Nian lost her card. You tried to make me responsible." She stepped closer. "You think because you're top 3 in the major, everyone has to bow to you?" I looked at her loud face, her trembling lashes, the fear hiding under her anger. Han Miao Miao was not evil in the same way Yao Xian was. She was worse in ordinary ways. She wanted comfort, convenience, and someone to blame when her laziness produced consequences. Most people who destroy you are not masterminds. They are cowards standing too close to a fire, pushing you forward because they do not want to feel heat. "No," I said. "I think because I'm top 3, I need my own study time." Then I walked away before she could turn my boundary into a debate. That evening, the dorm tried its second tactic: collective coldness. No one asked if I wanted dinner. No one told me the hot water machine was fixed. No one shared the campus gossip about the mock interview list. They lowered their voices when I entered and laughed too loudly when I sat down, like children pretending not to want attention. In my old life, this would have worked by 9 p.m. I would have bought fruit, placed it on the center table, and said, "Let's not fight. I'll go early tomorrow." This time, I wore noise-canceling earbuds and reviewed professional ethics until lights out. Their silence became a gift. Around 11:30, when the room should have settled, Yao Xian climbed down from her bed. I saw her reflection in my dark laptop screen. She walked to Sun Yan's desk, paused, then to the trash bin, then to the balcony. A minute later, she returned carrying something small in her sleeve. I kept my breathing even. She moved like a person who believed darkness made her invisible. It does not. It only makes observers more patient. The next morning, Sun Yan's law student card appeared under the balcony laundry rack. There was a dramatic gasp, then accusations at nobody, then relief. Yao Xian said gently, "Maybe it fell when Yan was drying clothes."
Sun Yan frowned.
I didn't go to the balcony yesterday. For one dangerous second, her eyes moved toward Yao Xian. Then Yao Xian coughed lightly and pressed her stomach. Suspicion dissolved into concern. I saved the memory. Not every trap needed to be sprung immediately. Some needed time to ripen. By the third day, the library was no longer just crowded. It was feral. The random checks had started, and the staff walked between desks every 2 hours, scanning cards and removing abandoned belongings. Students who once used notebooks as territorial flags now hovered anxiously near their seats, afraid to pee for longer than 5 minutes. This new order should have helped everyone, but my dorm had built its study system around cheating the old disorder. Without me arriving early, without my bag spread across chairs, without my polite smile defending their absence, they were forced into the same competition as everyone else, and they were bad at it. Miao Miao tried to reserve a seat with a water bottle and lost it when a staff member cleared the desk. Chen Rua took a seat in the periodicals room, then discovered she could not speak there and therefore could not ask strangers to explain concepts. Sun Yan found a seat near the socket but left after 20 minutes because the boy beside her smelled like cigarettes. Yao Xian arrived at 10 and posted another tragic stairwell photo. Meanwhile, I studied in blocks. 2 hours of theory, 15 minutes of walking, 1 hour of practice questions, lunch alone, afternoon memorization, evening revision. My scores on the mock sets climbed. The strangest part was not that I improved. It was that I had been capable of this all along. I simply had not known because everyone else's chaos had been using my mornings as fuel. At 4 p.m., my phone buzzed with a private message from Chen Rua, not the group. Private meant she wanted help without witnesses. "Wanwan, can we talk?" I considered ignoring it, then typed, "About?" She replied, "I think things are getting out of control. I don't like how Miao Miao talks and Nian is stressed. Xian is crying. I think we should solve this before it affects our recommendation interviews." There it was, recommendation interviews. Not friendship, not fairness. Risk management. I agreed to meet at the campus lake after dinner because open spaces made emotional ambushes harder. Chen Rua arrived wearing a beige hoodie and carrying 2 cups of milk tea. She offered one to me like a peace treaty. I did not take it. In my old life, she had brought warm milk tea the night before betraying me. I remembered the pearls stuck at the bottom of the cup, the way she said, "No matter what happens tomorrow, don't be angry." At the time, I thought she meant the library check. Now I knew she meant the statement she had already prepared. Chen Rua lowered the cup awkwardly. "Wanwan, I know you're upset. Maybe we relied on you too much. But can you not make it so stiff? Everyone feels like you're treating us as enemies." I watched wind wrinkle the lake surface. "Are you my enemy?" She flinched. "Of course not. Then there's no problem." She tried again. "You're too absolute. People need each other. Today it's seats. Tomorrow maybe you need notes, or a dorm signature, or someone to speak for you." That sentence slid between us with its true face showing. A threat dressed as wisdom. I turned to her fully. "Roa, do you remember last semester when you missed the lab safety quiz because you overslept?" Her face changed. Why mention that? You asked me to log in and complete it for you. I refused. Then you cried, so I spent 3 hours helping you study for the makeup quiz instead. You passed. I thanked you. You thanked me by telling everyone I was strict but useful. Her lips parted. She had not expected me to remember the exact wording. People often forget their small cruelties because they were not small to the person receiving them. I continued, calm and even. I'm not treating you as enemies. I'm treating you as adults. The fact that you find that hostile says more about our previous relationship than my current behavior. Chenrua looked down at the milk tea until condensation wet her fingers. For a second, I thought she might say something honest. Then her phone lit up. Yao Xian's name appeared. Rua turned the screen away too late. I saw the message preview. Did she agree? Don't push too hard. I almost admired it. Yao Xian never entered a room she could manipulate from outside. I stood. Tell Xian I didn't agree. Chenrua's face went white. Wan, it's not like that. It is exactly like that. I walked back to the dorm under the orange path lights, feeling old grief loosen into something sharper and cleaner. The past life had taught me their ending. Rebirth was teaching me their methods. When I returned, Yao Xian was sitting at her desk with a blanket around her shoulders, looking pitiful enough to be painted.
Han Miao hovered beside her, feeding utdraget like sop.
Soon Yen scrolled her phone with a bored expression, but her eyes tracked me in the mirror. I placed my bag down and said, next time you send someone to negotiate, don't text while they're still negotiating. The room went still. Chenrua came in 30 seconds later and immediately understood from the silence that she had failed twice. Yao Xian looked up slowly. Wan, I only worried about you. No, I said. You worried I wouldn't go back to being useful. Han Miao slammed her palm on the table. Enough. Xian has been defending you this whole time. I looked at Yao Xian. Has she? Yao Xian's eyes filled. I don't know why you hate me so much. I don't hate you. My voice was soft, almost gentle. I learned you. The words confused them, which was good. Confusion interrupts momentum. I climbed into bed and closed my curtain. Below, they whispered for almost an hour.
Yao sin klai li.
Miao comforted her loudly. Chenrua said my stress was making me paranoid. Soon Yen said maybe they should stop involving me because I clearly enjoy drama. I lay in the dark, listening without pain. This was another gift Rebirth gave me, the ability to hear insult as information. Their whispers told me who feared losing control, who feared exposure, who feared inconvenience, and who feared being next. Around midnight, my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. Senior Sister Lin, are you still selling library seats? My heart stopped, not from fear, but recognition. In my previous life, this message had appeared 2 days before the disciplinary raid. I had replied, wrong number. Later, during the investigation, screenshots circulated showing an edited version where I appeared to negotiate prices. That fake chat destroyed me faster than the seat scans. This time, I stared at the message, then replied, I do not sell or reserve library seats. This number is now screenshotted and will be reported to the library office. The other side went silent. I saved the number, exported the chat, uploaded it to my evidence folder, and sent a copy to Teacher Luo with a brief note. Someone may be attempting to frame students regarding library seats. Please be aware. Then I slept better than I had in 2 lifetimes. The next day delivered the first public explosion. It happened at 9:17 a.m. on the 3rd floor, near the socket wall where my dorm used to reign like lazy queens. Han Miao had arrived early for once and placed her bag on a seat before going downstairs to buy coffee. The new rule allowed a 15-minute absence. She took 28. When she returned, her bag was at the service desk and a freshman was sitting in her place. Miao demanded the seat back. The freshman refused. Miao accused her of stealing. The freshman said the staff cleared it. Miao grabbed the edge of the desk. The freshman grabbed her laptop. Books fell. A thermos spilled. Someone filmed. By lunch, the video was in 3 group chats under the caption, Senior Fighting Freshman Over Library Throne. In the clip, Meow Meow's voice cracked as she shouted, "Do you know how hard it is to get this seat?" The freshman shouted back, "Then sit in it." It was a perfect summary of the entire dorm's problem. They wanted ownership without presence, benefit without effort, sympathy without accountability. When Meow Meow stormed into the dorm later, humiliated and shaking, no one mentioned that I had warned them. Not directly. But when I entered, she stared at me as if I had personally instructed the freshman to sit down. "Happy now," she snapped. I hung my coat.
About what?
"Don't pretend. You wanted this. I wanted to study. You wanted us to suffer, because we asked for help." I turned and looked at her properly. "Meow Meow, you left a seat unattended beyond the allowed time. Staff cleared it, and another student sat down. Where do I appear in that process?" Her mouth opened, then closed. Su Nian gave a quiet snort, not because she supported me, but because Meow Meow had embarrassed herself publicly and Su Nian enjoyed anyone else's fall. Chenrua said, "Let's not fight. The video is already spreading." That made Meow Meow panic. "What video?" Su Nian's eyebrows rose. "You didn't know?" Yao Xian rushed to comfort her. "It's okay. Maybe it won't reach the department." But she said it too quickly, too gently, with her phone face down under her palm. I saw the truth before Meow Meow did. Yao Xian had already seen the video. Maybe she had forwarded it. Maybe she had simply allowed it to travel. Her gift was never pushing people off cliffs. She only loosened the railing, then looked sad when gravity did its work. Meow Meow grabbed her phone and screamed when she found the clip. "Who posted this?" Nobody answered. Yao Xian lowered her eyes. People can be so cruel. That night, Meow Meow did not sleep. She reported the video to the class monitor, messaged the freshmen, deleted posts, cried, cursed, then blamed caffeine. The dorm lights stayed on until 1 a.m. In my previous life, I would have mediated, drafted apologies, asked friends to remove the video, and sat beside Meow Meow until she calmed down. This time, I put on an eye mask. At 6 a.m., I woke rested. Meow Meow looked like she had been dragged through a hedge. Chenrua looked worse because she had tried to comfort her. Su Nian wore earplugs and complained that everyone had ruined her skin. Yao Xian looked delicate but untouched, like a white flower growing in ruins she secretly watered. I made oatmeal again. The normality of it enraged them. "How can you just eat?" Meow Meow demanded, voice hoarse. I looked at my bowl. With a spoon. Su Nian laughed before she could stop herself. Meow Meow turned on her. "You think this is funny?"
Su Nian stood.
"A little." The alliance cracked audibly. I watched from the side, not interfering. There is a special kind of control that comes from doing nothing at the right time. The fourth day was when the real trap revealed its bones. At 10:30 a.m., Teacher Luo posted an urgent notice in our department group. Several students have reported receiving messages about paid library seat reservations. Anyone involved must come forward before 5 p.m. Screenshots or evidence may be submitted privately. My old scars went cold. This was the day everything had begun collapsing before. In the previous life, the anonymous seller screenshots appeared. The library checked skin records. My card had multiple entries connected to my roommate's seats, and Yao Xian gave her tearful statement. I didn't want to expose her, but selling seats is wrong. The money transfer screenshot had been fake, but nobody cared. The pattern was strong enough. I reserved seats for others, therefore I could have sold seats to strangers. My good deeds became motive. My reliability became method. My silence became confession. This time, the pattern had nowhere to attach. I had one seat, one card, one record, one body. The trap still existed, but its target had moved. By noon, Su Nian was called to the counselor's office. That surprised everyone except me. She returned 40 minutes later with a face like wet paper and went straight to Yao Xian. Did you use my card? The dorm went silent. Yao Xian looked up from her notes, eyes widening perfectly. What? Su Nian's voice shook. The library record shows my card entered at 7:02 2 days ago. I didn't have my card. I was at the admin desk reporting it lost. Someone used it. Han Miao Miao stopped mid-bite. Chen Ruo sat frozen. Yao Xian pressed a hand to her chest. Nian, are you suspecting me? Your bed is closest to the balcony. The card appeared there. Tears gathered in Yao Xian's eyes immediately, faster than usual, because this time she needed them. I can't believe you'd say that. I was sick that morning.
Su Nian lauget bitterly.
You're always sick when things happen. The sentence sliced the room open. For 2 years, everyone had swallowed Yao Xian's fragility as sacred fact. Hearing someone spit it back felt almost violent. Yao Xian's face drained of color, not the pretty pale she performed, but real fear. Han Miao Miao stood instinctively between them. Nian, don't go too far. Su Nian pointed at her. Don't act righteous. Your video is everywhere because someone sent it to the faculty gossip group. Guess who was online when it happened? Miao Miao turned slowly toward Yao Xian. For the first time, the protector looked at the protected object and saw fingerprints. Yao Xian shook her head, tears falling now. I didn't.
I swear.
Why are you all attacking me? Because Linwan changed.
Ah.
There it was. When cornered, returned to the original villain.
Me.
I closed my book. Every face turned toward me, as if pulled by a string. Yao Xian whispered, ever since Waman stopped helping us, this dorm became like this. We used to be fine. I stood.
No.
You used to be hidden. The room became so quiet, I could hear rain tapping the window frame. Miao Miao was always careless. Roa was always dependent. Nian was always selfish. You were always manipulative. I was just absorbing the consequences, so none of you had to see yourselves clearly. Han Miao Miao's mouth fell open. Chen Ruo looked wounded, which meant the truth had landed. Su Nian's eyes narrowed, not offended enough to deny it. Yao Xian's tears stopped for half a second. I picked up my umbrella. You're not losing control because I changed. You're losing control because I stopped being the control system. I left before the shouting began. In the stairwell, my knees trembled. Not because I regretted it, because speaking the truth after years of swallowing it is physically exhausting. I sat on the landing between the 3rd and 4th floors and let myself breathe. For all my planning, I was still human. I still remembered late-night noodles with Miao Miao, Chen Ruo braiding my hair before a presentation, Su Nian lending me a black blazer once, Yao Xian pressing a heating pad into my hands during cramps. Betrayal is never clean because people are rarely monsters every minute of the day. That is what makes leaving hard. You remember the warm moments and wonder if you invented the knife. But I had died with their statements printed in a folder. Warm moments did not erase cold signatures. My phone buzzed. Teacher Luo. Linwan, please come to my office when convenient. I replied. I can come now. Then I stood, smoothed my skirt, and walked toward the administrative building with the calm of someone who had rehearsed death and found meetings less frightening. Teacher Luo was not alone. The deputy librarian sat beside her, along with our department's academic secretary. On the desk were printed screenshots, scan logs, and a familiar edited chat with my name inserted near the top. Someone had still tried to frame me. The difference was that this time the frame looked absurd. Teacher Luo gestured for me to sit. Linwan, we received an anonymous report claiming you organized paid seat reservations. However, your recent scan record shows only normal personal use. You also sent me a warning about suspicious messages yesterday. We need to ask whether you know who might be behind this. I looked at the screenshot. The fake conversation showed my profile picture next to messages offering 3rd floor socket seats, 20 yuan each. In the old life, my stomach had turned to ice at the sight. Today, I felt almost bored. This is edited, I said. My actual chat with that number is here. I opened my phone, showed the exported record, then the cloud timestamp. The deputy librarian leaned forward. The academic secretary nodded slowly. Teacher Luo's expression changed from suspicion to fatigue. Do you have reason to believe someone targeted you? I thought of Yao Xian's soft voice, Su Nian's missing card, the anonymous number, the careful return of chaos to my doorstep. Yes, I said. But I can't prove the person yet. Yet, Teacher Luo repeated. I met her eyes.
Yes.
Yet. That word mattered. It told the adults I was not hysterical, not accusing blindly, not asking them to do my thinking. I was building a case. Teacher Luo folded her hands. Lin Wan, I'll be direct. Your dorm has had multiple complaints in the last few days. Seat disputes, card issues, online arguments. The department doesn't want this affecting recommendation interviews. There was again the sacred recommendation list. Our university had a postgraduate recommendation system. The top students could bypass the national entrance exam and interview directly for limited graduate spots. I had been ranked third. Yao Xian was seventh. Only the top 5 were guaranteed interviews. In my old life, my disciplinary notice removed me from eligibility, and somehow, miraculously, Yao Xian moved up. Everyone said she was lucky. I had died before I understood luck often arrives wearing stolen shoes. Teacher, I said, I also don't want it affecting interviews. That's why I'm documenting everything. The academic secretary looked at me for the first time with real interest. Send all evidence to us by email. Keep it factual.
No emotion like questions.
Understood, I said. Factual had become my favorite language. I spent the next 3 hours assembling the cleanest email of my life.
Timeline.
Screenshots. Library rules. Card return photo. Group chat excerpts. Unknown number message. My response. Teacher Luo notification. My scan records. Statement that I had not reserved or sold seats, had returned all student cards, and requested the department preserve dorm hallway camera footage from April 18th to April 21st.
No adjectives.
No, I feel. No, they always. No dramatic claims. Just dates, times, actions. Evidence is stronger when it does not beg. I sent it at 4:47 p.m. At 4:52, Teacher Luo replied, received. Please avoid direct conflict while we verify. I almost smiled. Avoid direct conflict was easy. My absence was causing more damage than any argument could. When I returned to the dorm, the atmosphere had curdled. Miao Miao sat on her bed, scrolling furiously. Chen Rua typed on her laptop, probably drafting one of her careful neutral statements. Su Nian was on the balcony whispering into her phone. Yao Xian lay under her blanket, but I could see the glow of her screen through the fabric. For islands, no bridge. I had not destroyed their friendship. I had removed myself as the mainland. That evening, the class monitor posted the preliminary recommendation interview schedule. My name appeared in the 3rd slot. Yao Xian's appeared 7th, under the waiting list. In the old life, by this date, she had already started calling me Senior Sister Lin, jokingly saying, when you become a graduate student, don't forget us. I had promised to help her prepare. I had even shared my interview outline with her. After my fall, she used that outline. This time, I opened the schedule, took a screenshot, and printed 2 copies of my own materials at the campus shop. Only 2. One for practice, one for backup. When I returned, Yao Xian was waiting near the door. Her face looked fragile in the hallway light, but her eyes were steady. The audience was gone. This was not a performance. This was negotiation. Wan Wan, she said quietly, can we talk outside? I considered her. Then I said, here is fine. Her lips pressed together. Some things shouldn't be said in the dorm. Then don't say them. I reached for the doorknob. She caught my sleeve. Not tightly. Just enough to suggest intimacy if someone walked by. I looked down at her fingers. Let go. She did slowly. You really want to make this ugly? She asked. There she was. The deer had stepped out of the costume and shown teeth. It became ugly when you tried to use Sun Yan's card, I said. Her pupils tightened. You can't prove that. Not yet. You keep saying that, because it keeps being true. She laughed softly, almost admiring. You're different. Did someone advise you? In a way, yes. Death had been an excellent tutor. I said nothing. She leaned closer. Lin Wan, even if you clear yourself, do you think the department likes troublemakers? Recommendation interviews are not just grades. They look at character, cooperation, peer relationships. If the whole dorm says you're difficult, do you think teachers won't hesitate? This was the voice she used when no one else listened. Low, clean, without tears. I felt a chill, not because I feared her, but because I remembered hearing a version of it before. In the old timeline, outside the disciplinary office, she hugged me and whispered, "You should have stayed useful. People only defend useful girls." Then she cried loudly when I pushed her away. Today, I smiled. "You're right. Character matters." Her expression flickered. I opened the door and stepped into the dorm. So choose your next move carefully. The fifth day began with an announcement that all students involved in library seat disputes would attend a meeting at 2 p.m. in lecture room 204. Not just our dorm. Everyone. The library had collected enough complaints to make an example. This changed the battlefield. Yao Xian thrived in small rooms where she could control emotions. Large public meetings were riskier. Too many witnesses. Too many independent stories. Too many phones. At lunch, she tried to avoid going by claiming dizziness, but Teacher Luo personally messaged that attendance was required if her name appeared in any report. Her name appeared.
Of course it did.
Su Nian had submitted a statement about the card scan. Miao Miao had submitted a complaint about the video spread. A freshman had submitted a complaint about the seat fight. Someone from economics had submitted screenshots of the paid reservation messages. The web Yao Xian spun had caught too many flies, and now each fly was buzzing in a different direction. I arrived at lecture room 204 10 minutes early and chose a seat near the aisle. Not the front. Not the back. Visible but not eager. My old self would have hidden. My new self understood that innocent people should not look like shadows. The meeting was deliciously uncomfortable. The deputy librarian explained the rules with the patience of a man who had repeated them so often they had become personal insults. One person, one seat. Absence over 15 minutes allows clearing. Student cards may not be shared. Paid reservation is prohibited. Anonymous reports can be traced if malicious. Then Teacher Luo invited students to clarify recent incidents. The freshman from Miao Miao's video spoke first, voice shaking but firm. I didn't steal her seat. Staff cleared it. She grabbed my laptop. Miao Miao turned red and apologized through clenched teeth. Then Su Nian stood. She looked proud even while embarrassed, which was a skill. My card was missing for one morning, but records show it entered the library. I don't know who used it, but I didn't authorize anyone. The room stirred. Card misuse was more serious than seat drama. Yao Xian lowered her head. From the side, she looked like a victim already preparing for tears. Then a boy from economics stood and said he had received paid seat messages from a number that later changed its profile name to resemble mine. The deputy librarian asked him to send the original metadata. He agreed. My pulse stayed steady. Metadata. That beautiful, unromantic word. Then Teacher Luo said, "Lin Wan, since your name appears in the edited screenshots, do you want to clarify?" I stood. Every eye turned. In my old life, public attention had crushed me. I had tried to explain too much, cried too early, and watched disbelief harden. Today, I held one sheet of paper. I have never sold or reserved library seats for payment. I previously helped my roommates occupy seats, which I now understand was against library rules, and I stopped doing so on April 18th. I returned their student cards that day. Since then, my library record shows only my own entry and one occupied seat. When I received a suspicious message asking if I was selling seats, I denied it and reported it to Teacher Luo. I have submitted evidence. I paused, then added, I apologize for previously participating in unfair seat occupation, even without payment. I won't do it again. The apology was important. It gave the truth a clean edge. I did not pretend to have always been perfect. I admitted the small wrong, so no one could inflate it into the large lie. Around the room, faces shifted. People believe humility when it arrives before accusation. Yao Xian stood before anyone asked her to.
Mistake.
Panic makes manipulators overact. Her voice trembled. Teacher, I also want to say something. I think Wan Wan is under too much pressure. She has always been kind, but recently she misunderstood us. Our dorm never wanted her to break rules. We just studied together. If she felt forced, I'm sorry. But please don't let this become everyone attacking each other. It sounded generous. It also contradicted too many records. Teacher Luo looked at her. Yao Xian, did Lin Wan reserve seats for you before April 18th?
Yao xin sure lats for lutter.
Sometimes we went together. That's not the question. The room sharpened.
Yao xin xoa lao.
Maybe once or twice. I almost pitied her. Almost. Teacher Luo checked a printed log. Your card entered within 2 minutes of Lin Wan's card on 9 mornings this month, but camera footage shows you entering later on several of those days. Did you give her your card? Yao Xian's face went blank. The trap had reversed so neatly that for a second, nobody breathed. If she said yes, she admitted I had permission. If she said no, she had to explain why she never reported repeated card misuse until now. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they had nowhere safe to land.
Yao xin whisper.
I trusted her. I didn't think it was serious. Su Nian turned toward her sharply.
Han Miao started.
Chenrua closed her eyes. Teacher Luo wrote something down. Then your statement should reflect that. Do not imply she used your card without permission if you gave it to her.
Yao xin sure lip jember.
I never meant to imply. Your earlier message said you were unaware of the details. Teacher Luo's voice remained calm, which made it worse. Please be precise. Precision was poison to people who lived in fog. The meeting continued, but the center had shifted. I was no longer the suspicious one. I was the student who admitted a minor rule violation and stopped. Yao Xian was now the student whose helplessness had scanned records. When the meeting ended, students filed out whispering. Nobody confronted me. A few even glanced at me with sympathy. Sympathy is not justice, but after dying under suspicion it felt like oxygen. Outside, Han Miao grabbed Yao Xian's wrist. You said you didn't know Lin Wan used your card. Yao Xian pulled back, tears falling. I didn't want to get anyone in trouble.
Su Nian lau get gun li.
No, you wanted to get the right person in trouble at the right time. Chenrua whispered. Nian, stop.
Why?
Because you're scared too.
Su Nian snap pet.
We all gave Lin Wan cards. We all used her.
Fine.
But someone edited chats. Someone used my missing card. Someone spread Miao Miao's video. Yao Xian shook her head. Why are you blaming me for everything? Because somehow every bad thing makes you look pitiful and someone else look guilty. The words hit harder because they came from Su Nian, who had spent 2 years benefiting from the same system. Hypocrites can still recognize a bigger hypocrite when the mirror turns. Yao Xian looked around, searching for support. Miao Miao hesitated. Chenrua looked away. I watched the exact moment Yao Xian realized the dorm was no longer a shield. It was a room full of witnesses. That night, Yao Xian tried the third tactic, confession without responsibility. She waited until lights were off and spoke into the darkness. Maybe I did rely on everyone too much. I know my health makes me troublesome. I just wanted our dorm to stay together. Han Miao sniffed but said nothing. Chenrua murmured, sleep. We're all tired. Su Nian rolled over loudly. I remained silent. Yao Xian continued, voice breaking. Wan, I'm sorry if I made you feel used. There was if. The smallest word in fake apologies, and always the loudest. In my old life, I would have accepted because the room wanted peace. Tonight, I said, I don't accept conditional apologies. The darkness froze. Yao Xian's breathing changed. What do you want me to say? The truth. I already did. Then sleep. She cried for 20 minutes. No one climbed down to comfort her.
Not even Miao Miao.
The sound became less tragic as it continued. Tears, when they stop controlling people, become just water. The 6th day was interview preparation day. The department released sample questions, academic goals, research interest, ethical judgment, teamwork experience. I almost laughed when I saw the last one. Teamwork. In my previous life, That question had destroyed me because by then the dorm had already submitted statements, and I could not speak about cooperation without tasting ash. This time, I wrote an answer that did not mention them at all. I spoke about a summer research project where our dataset was corrupted 2 days before submission, and I coordinated verification without blaming the student who made the error. It was true. It was clean. It showed leadership without martyrdom. That afternoon, I practiced with senior sister Chien from the lab, someone I had foolishly neglected before because the dorm consumed all my time. She listened to my answers in an empty classroom and tapped her pen against the desk. "You're clearer than last month," she said. Less apologetic. I smiled. Is that good? For interviews? Very. For people who want to exploit you? Terrible. I laughed for the first time in days. She leaned back. "I heard there's drama in your dorm." "There is. Do you need help?" Such a simple question.
No guilt.
No demand.
No hidden invoice.
I felt my throat tighten unexpectedly. Maybe just mock interview practice. "Done," she said. "Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. That was help. Not rescue. Not control. Help. When I returned to the dorm after practice, my printed interview outline was missing. I knew because I had placed it inside a blue folder under my laptop, and the folder now sat 1 centimeter too far left. Small details matter. In the old timeline, my outline disappeared the night before interviews and reappeared on Yao Xian's desk after my disqualification. She claimed she found it in the shared printer tray. This time, I had printed 2 copies, watermarked each page with my student number in pale gray text, and photographed the folder before leaving. I said nothing. Instead, I opened my laptop and checked the document history. At 16:12, someone had inserted a USB drive while my laptop slept. Access failed because I had changed the password. At 16:14, a file on my desk had been photographed. I knew because I had placed a tiny folded corner on page 3. Now it lay flat. My heartbeat slowed. Not fear. Focus. I took out my second copy from a sealed envelope inside my backpack. Then I opened the dorm group and typed, "My interview outline is missing from my desk. Please return it by 9 p.m. No questions asked." Han Miao Miao replied, "Don't start again." Sun Yen, check your own bag. Chenrua, are you sure? Yao Xian, I haven't touched your things. That last sentence arrived too quickly. At 8:57 p.m., the outline appeared under my chair.
No explanation. No apology.
I picked it up with tissue, placed it in a plastic folder, and photographed every page. Page 4 had a faint fingerprint smudge near the teamwork answer. Page 6 had a crease that was not mine. More importantly, the watermark was visible. At 9:03, Yao Xian left the dorm to get hot water. At 9:11, senior sister Chien messaged me, "Someone just asked me if your interview outline was shared department material." She sent a screenshot. The person asking was from another dorm. The document photo attached showed my page 4, cropped badly, watermark still visible. I looked at the screen and felt something inside me settle. Yao Xian was desperate now. Desperate people make fast mistakes. I forwarded the screenshot to teacher Luo with a note. My personal interview outline was removed from my desk and circulated. Watermark visible. Request guidance. Then I messaged senior sister Chien. Please don't engage further. Thank you. When Yao Xian returned with her thermos, her cheeks were flushed from more than the hallway heat. I did not confront her. Confrontation would warn her. Evidence would end her. The final collapse happened the next morning, 1 day before interviews. It began not with shouting, but with an email. The department summoned Yao Xian, Sun Yen, Han Miao Miao, Chen Rua, and me to a formal conduct review at 10 a.m. The subject line was dry, verification of library and academic materials incidents. Dry subject lines are terrifying because they mean adults have stopped negotiating emotionally. We walked there together in a silence, so thick it felt like a funeral procession. Miao Miao's hands shook. Chen Rua kept swallowing. Sun Yen looked angry enough to survive anything. Yao Xian looked calm.
Too calm.
She had chosen the noble victim ending then. I wondered what story she had prepared. Maybe that she borrowed my outline by mistake. Maybe that she used Su Nian's card because she was sick and confused. Maybe that anonymous messages were from outsiders. Maybe all of it would be softened by tears. In the conference room, Teacher Luo sat with the deputy librarian, the academic secretary, and the dormitory supervisor. A laptop was connected to the screen.
Camera footage waited in paused silence.
My old life had ended in a room like this. My new life entered one with receipts.
Teacher Luo began.
We have reviewed submitted evidence, library skin logs, hallway camera footage, and digital reports. This meeting is to clarify responsibility before the department decides whether disciplinary action is needed. Yao Xian's hands folded neatly in her lap. Han Miao stared at the table. Su Nian leaned back, jaw tight. Chun Ruo looked like she might be sick. The deputy librarian displayed the scan log first. My card. Consistent entries, 1 seat. Su Nian's card. Entered at 7:02 on the missing card morning. Camera footage from the dorm hallway. Yao Xian leaving the dorm at 6:41 wearing a mask and cap, holding a silver card holder. Yao Xian whispered, "That's not." The dormitory supervisor zoomed in. It was. The room did not need anyone to say it. Next footage. Yao Xian returning at 7:18 and placing something near the balcony laundry rack. Su Nian's face hardened into something almost satisfied. "I knew it," she said. Teacher Luo raised a hand. "Let us continue." Next, the video spread. Metadata showed the first upload to the faculty gossip group came from a newly created account linked to a phone number. Not Yao Xian's main number, but the recovery email? Hers. Han Miao made a small sound like she had been punched. Yao Xian started crying then. I didn't mean for it to spread. I was angry. Miao kept blaming me for being late and I just... Miao shot to her feet. I defended you. Sit down, Teacher Luo said. Miao sat, shaking. The academic secretary opened the next file, the edited paid seat screenshot. The unknown number that messaged me had also messaged 3 other students. Payment account registration traced to a campus phone verification kiosk. Camera footage from the kiosk showed someone in a cream cardigan and mask. Not definitive alone. But then came the interview outline. My watermarked page, sent to another dorm from an anonymous account. The screenshot from senior Sister Qian. Dorm hallway footage showing Yao Xian entering the room alone at 16:05 while the rest of us were out. My desk photographed from an angle consistent with someone standing beside her bed ladder. Not courtroom proof, perhaps. But university discipline did not require courtroom standards. It required enough truth to make denial embarrassing. Teacher Luo looked at Yao Xian. Do you want to explain? For a long moment, Yao Xian cried silently. Then she lifted her head, and the softness fell away.
Fine, she said.
One word. Cold. Everyone stared. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand, suddenly impatient with them. Yes, I used Nian's card. I needed a seat. She wasn't using it. Su Nian laughed in disbelief. I was reporting it lost because you took it. Yao Xian ignored her. Yes, I sent the video. Miao humiliated our dorm by fighting in public. Han Miao's face crumpled. You said people were cruel. They were, Yao Xian snapped. They laughed because you gave them something to laugh at. Chen Ruo whispered. Xian? Yao Xian turned on her. Don't act innocent. You all used Linwan too. You just didn't want consequences. The room fell silent again, but this silence was different. It was not shock at her cruelty. It was shock at recognition.
She was not wrong about that part.
Evil becomes harder to dismiss when it carries a piece of truth. Then Yao Xian looked at me, and her eyes burned. And you think you're noble because you stopped? You loved being needed. You loved everyone calling you reliable. Don't pretend we forced you every time. You wanted to be important. The sentence entered me like a needle finding an old bruise. For 1 second, I was back in the rain outside the disciplinary office, holding my failed appeal, wondering if maybe I had built the cage myself. Then I breathed. You're right, I said. Everyone turned. Yao Xian blinked, thrown off. I continued. I did like being needed. I thought helping meant belonging. That was my mistake. But liking gratitude doesn't give you the right to frame me. Wanting friendship doesn't make theft okay. Being foolish enough to carry others doesn't mean I deserve to be buried under them. My voice did not rise. It did not need to. I corrected my mistake. You escalated yours. Yao Xian's face twisted because she had wanted denial, shame, an argument she could drag into mud. Acceptance left her holding only her actions. The meeting ended with temporary measures. Yao Xian's recommendation eligibility was suspended pending review. She lost library access for the remainder of the week. Her conduct record would include misuse of another student's card, malicious circulation of student conflict, and unauthorized handling of academic materials. The edited paid seat evidence remained under investigation, but the department stated clearly that I was not implicated. Han Miaomiao received a warning for the library altercation. Su Nian received a warning for careless card management, but no major penalty. Chen Ruo received no formal discipline, but teacher Luo looked at her and said, "Silence during wrongdoing is not neutrality." That sentence followed her out of the room, like a ghost. As for me, the academic secretary confirmed my recommendation interview would proceed as scheduled. The words should have made me triumphant. Instead, I felt tired. Revenge in stories often ends with a slap, a gasp, a villain kneeling. Real revenge feels more like finally putting down a heavy bucket and noticing the grooves it left in your palms. Back in the dorm, the aftermath was uglier than the exposure. Yao Xian did not return immediately. Han Miaomiao did, and the first thing she did was sit on the floor and cry. Not delicate tears. Humiliating, hiccuping sobs. "I was so stupid," she kept saying. Su Nian stood by the balcony with her arms crossed. "Yes." Chen Ruo snapped. "Do you have to?" Su Nian turned.
What?
Comfort her? Like she comforted me when my card vanished? "We all made mistakes," Chen Ruo said weakly. Su Nian's laugh was sharp. "That sentence is what people say when they don't want rankings." Miao Miao covered her face. For a moment, I saw not the girl who kicked my bed, but a frightened 21-year-old whose laziness had found a predator and called her friend. Then I reminded myself compassion was not a contract. I could feel sorry for her without becoming useful again. I packed my interview materials into my backpack. Chen Ruo looked at me. "Wan." I waited. She swallowed. "I'm sorry." No if. No maybe. No made you feel.
Just sorry.
It was not enough to rebuild anything, but it was the first honest sentence she had given me in 2 lifetimes. I nodded once. "I hear you." Han Miaomiao lifted her head. "I'm sorry too." Her voice cracked. "For the seats. For blaming you. For everything." Su Nian rolled her eyes but said nothing. I looked at Miao Miao carefully. Apologies after consequences are not always false, but they are never pure. Still, purity was not required. I was not a judge. I was a person leaving a burning house. "Don't apologize to make me fix it," I said. "I won't." Miao Miao cried harder, probably because she knew I meant it. Chen Ruo wiped her eyes. Su Nian looked out the window. That was how Yao Xian found us, when she returned 20 minutes later. Her eyes swept the room and understood immediately that the emotional territory had changed without her permission. No one rushed to her. No one asked if she was okay. No one gave her the center. She stood by the door with her suspension notice in hand, and for the first time since I had known her, she looked ordinary. Not tragic. Not angelic. Not delicate. Just a girl who had been caught. "You're all happy?" she asked. Miao Miao flinched but did not answer. Chen Ruo stared at her desk. Su Nian said, "A little." Yao Xian's gaze snapped to me. "You ruined me." I zipped my bag.
No.
"I stopped reserving your seat." The sentence sounded almost ridiculous, but it was the whole story. I stopped reserving seats, and the whole dorm lost control because control had always been outsourced to the person they were most willing to sacrifice. Yao Xian laughed once hollow. "Do you think they like you now? They'll use you again the second you soften." "Maybe," I said. "That's why I won't soften in that direction." Her expression changed, almost imperceptibly. She had expected hatred. Hatred would still orbit her. My indifference frightened her more. I climbed onto my bunk early that night and slept with my interview clothes hanging neatly beside me. Below, no one whispered. The dorm was quiet, not peaceful, but quiet. Sometimes that is the first stage of peace, the absence of people demanding your blood in a friendly voice. Interview morning arrived clear and cold. I woke before my alarm, dressed in a navy blazer, white blouse, and black skirt, and tied my hair back with a dark ribbon. In the mirror, I looked like myself from the old life and not like her at all. Same face, different eyes. The girl who died outside the South Gate had believed survival depended on being chosen by others. The girl in the mirror understood that some forms of rejection are a rescue. As I packed my folder, Chinrua climbed down and placed a steamed bun on my desk. "I bought extra," she said quickly. "You don't have to eat it." I looked at it. Warm, wrapped in thin plastic, no performance attached. "Thank you," I said, and put it in my bag. Han Miao Miao sat up, hair messy, eyes swollen. "Good luck," she whispered. Su Nian, pretending to check her nails, said, "Don't mess up. If you do, all this drama becomes embarrassing." That was probably her version of support. Yao Xian's curtains stayed closed. As I opened the door, her voice came from behind it. "The interviewers care about teamwork." I paused. "I know. What will you say when they ask?" I looked back at the cream curtain hiding her face. The truth. That teamwork without boundaries becomes exploitation, and leadership means correcting systems that depend on silent sacrifice. No reply came. The waiting room outside the interview hall smelled like paper, perfume, and terror. Students sat in stiff rows, clutching folders, mouthing prepared answers, pretending not to compare each other's clothes. Senior Sister Qian gave me a thumbs up from the hallway before leaving for her lab. My name was called third. I entered, bowed politely, and sat before 3 professors and 1 administrative observer. The middle professor scanned my file. "Lin Wan, your grades are strong. I see there were recent dormitory and library disputes involving your name, but the department has submitted a clarification. Do you want to briefly address whether this affected your preparation?" A lesser version of me would have panicked. The old version would have over-explained. I breathed once. "Yes, Professor. It affected my preparation by forcing me to examine how I manage responsibility. I previously confused helping others with taking over their obligations. When library rules changed, I corrected my behavior, documented clearly, and cooperated with the department's verification. I believe academic integrity includes not only avoiding dishonesty, but also refusing convenience that creates unfairness." The professor's pen paused. Another professor leaned forward. "So, would you describe yourself as cooperative?" I smiled slightly. "More than before. Before, I was compliant. Now, I'm cooperative. I understand the difference." The interview shifted after that. Research interests, methodology, ethics. A question about what I would do if a lab partner manipulated data to meet a deadline. I answered without hesitation. Preserve original records, speak privately first if safe, escalate to supervisor if needed, and never allow personal loyalty to override academic truth. The professors listened. I did not know whether I impressed them, but I knew I did not betray myself. When I left the room, sunlight hit the corridor floor in bright rectangles. My hands were steady. I sat on a bench outside and finally ate the steamed bun Chinrua had given me. It was slightly cold but still soft. For some reason that almost made me cry. Not from sadness. From the strange tenderness of receiving something small without owing my life for it. When the interview list results were posted that evening, my name was first among the recommended candidates. Not third. First. My academic score had carried me. My interview had lifted me. The department praised my clear ethical reflection and strong self-management under pressure. I read the line twice. Under pressure. In my old life, pressure had crushed me because I was holding everyone else's weight. This time, pressure revealed my shape. The dorm reacted in fragments. Chinrua cried quietly and hugged me only after asking, "Can I?" I allowed it for 3 seconds, then stepped back. Han Miao Miao screamed, then remembered we were not close enough for screaming and awkwardly lowered her voice to say congratulations. Su Nian looked at the list and said, "First place. Annoying, but impressive." Yao Xian was not in the dorm. Her bed had been stripped. By evening, we learned she had applied to move to another building pending the conduct decision. Some girls from other dorms said she was telling people she had been isolated by jealous roommates. Others said the evidence had spread too far for that story to survive. I did not chase rumors. Rumors had eaten my old life. I refused to feed them with my new one. Teacher Luo messaged me privately, "Congratulations. Also, your request to change dorms has been approved if you still want it." I stared at the message for a long time. In my previous life, I had dreamed of staying in that dorm and being loved correctly. Now the door was open, and love had nothing to do with it. I replied, "Yes, thank you. I would like to move after the interview period." My last night in dormitory 714 was quiet. The room looked smaller than it had at the beginning of the week, as if the drama had inflated it and truth had let the air out. I packed slowly. Books, clothes, chargers, winter blanket, the mug with a chipped handle, the photo strip from freshman orientation where all 5 of us smiled with our cheeks pressed together. I held that photo for longer than expected. There we were, younger and softer, not yet enemies, not yet honest. Yao Xian's smile was perfect even then. Miao Miao held a peace sign over my head. Chen Ruo leaned into my shoulder. Su Nian looked bored, but pretty. I stood in the middle, grinning like belonging was guaranteed. I did not tear the photo. That would have been too dramatic, and drama still gives the past too much power. I placed it in the bottom of a drawer and left it there. Some versions of yourself do not need to be destroyed. They only need to be outgrown. Before lights out, Han Miao Miao said, "Wan Wan, in the beginning, why did you help us so much?" The question came from the dark, stripped of accusation. I considered ignoring it. Then I answered because the truth deserved air. Because I thought if I was useful enough, no one would leave me behind. Chen Ruo's breathing hitched. Su Nian was silent. Miao Miao whispered, "That's sad." "Yes," I said. "It was." She cried again, but quietly this time. No performance. No demand. Just a girl meeting the damage she had participated in. I did not comfort her. It was not punishment. It was respect. Some guilt should not be interrupted. Across the room, Su Nian said suddenly, "For what it's worth, I don't think you're difficult." A pause. "You're terrifying, but not difficult." I laughed before I could stop myself. Chen Ruo laughed too. Miao Miao sniffed and laughed through tears. For one brief second, the dorm sounded like it might have in another life if everyone had learned sooner. Then the moment passed, and that was okay. Not every almost friendship needs resurrection. I moved 2 days later into a smaller room on the 5th floor of another building. My new roommate was a quiet literature major named Song Bei, who introduced herself, showed me which shelf was empty, and said, "I sleep late, but use headphones." It was the most respectful dorm welcome I had ever received. No one asked me to reserve anything. No one handed me a student card. No one called me lifesaver. For the first week, the peace felt suspicious. I kept expecting a crisis to crawl under the door. Instead, mornings arrived gently. I woke, studied, attended meetings, practiced in the lab, ate when hungry, slept when tired. My life became almost boring, and boredom after chaos is a luxury people underestimate. Occasionally, I saw my old dorm mates on campus. Miao Miao started arriving at the library early with her own card, looking miserable but present. Chen Ruo joined a study group where everyone explained one topic each instead of draining one person. Su Nian bought a card holder with a chain and wore it around her neck like a rich prisoner. Yao Xian avoided me completely. When our eyes met once near the cafeteria, she looked away first. That was enough. The conduct decision came 3 weeks later. Yao Xian received a formal warning, lost her recommendation eligibility for that cycle, and was required to complete an academic integrity reflection program. The department did not expel her. Real consequences are often less dramatic than stories promise. At first, a small, wounded part of me wanted more. I wanted the universe to balance the old timeline. My death, my mother's unanswered calls, the folder of appeals soaked in rain. A warning seemed too light for a person who had once helped erase my future. But then I remembered this timeline was not a courtroom for my previous death.
It was my life.
And in my life, I was still here. That mattered more than her punishment. I called my mother that night. When she answered, her voice was busy and warm. "Wan, did you eat?" I closed my eyes. In the old life, the last thing on my phone had been her missed calls. This time I said, yes. I got the recommendation. She screamed so loudly my new roommate jumped. Then my mother cried, and I cried too, quietly, with my phone pressed to my ear and my whole future breathing in front of me. Months later, when the campus ginkgo leaves turned gold, I walked past the library at dawn and saw a line already forming. Students clutched coffee, blankets, flashcards, hope. The socket seats on the third floor were still famous. The rules were stricter now. Face scan entry, timed absence slips, no card sharing. People complained, adapted, survived. I stood outside for a moment, remembering the girl who once ran this path with 4 student cards in her pocket, terrified of disappointing people who would later disappoint her without blinking. I wished I could reach through time and stop her. Then I realized I had. Not by warning her earlier. Not by making them kinder. By becoming the version of her who finally put the cards down. My phone buzzed with a message from Senior Sister Qian. Lab meeting moved to 9. Bring your notes. First place candidate. I smiled and typed back. On my way. Then I entered the library, scanned my own card, and took one seat. People think Rebirth is about revenge because revenge is loud. They imagine slaps, public kneeling, villains exposed under bright lights. I did get exposure. I did watch the dorm lose control. I did see the girl who framed me caught by her own habits, the girls who used me forced to carry themselves, the system that once crushed me become the record that cleared me. But the real rebirth was quieter. It happened the first morning when I looked down from my bunk and said, "Then you should hurry." It happened when I ate oatmeal while other people panicked. It happened when I returned the student cards. It happened when I stopped translating selfishness into need. It happened when I admitted I had wanted to be useful and still refused to be used. The whole dorm lost control because I stopped controlling it for them. And I finally gained control because I stopped mistaking control for love. Years from now, maybe Han Miao Miao will remember the library fight and laugh with embarrassment. Maybe Chen Ruo will become someone who apologizes before consequences force her. Maybe Su Nian will always be sharp, selfish, and strangely honest. Maybe Yao Xian will find another room, another audience, another soft cardigan to hide behind. I cannot decide their endings. That was the lesson I paid for with one lifetime and reclaimed in another. I can only decide whether I hand them my mornings, my name, my evidence, my future. And I don't. Not anymore. If a seat is empty, I sit in it. If a rule is clear, I follow it. If a person needs help, I check whether helping them requires abandoning myself. If it does, I let them hurry on their own. Because some girls are not reborn to become cruel. Some girls are reborn to stop being convenient. And on the morning I stopped reserving seats in the library, I did not just watch a dorm lose control again. I watched myself finally become free.